Hey, it's Will Friedle.
And Sabrina Bryan.
And we're the hosts of the new podcast, Magical Rewind.
You may know us from some of your favorite childhood TV movies like My Date with the President's Daughter
and the Cheetah Girls movies.
Together, we're sitting down to watch all the movies you grew up with and chat with some of your favorite stars and crew that made these iconic movies happen.
So kick back, grab your popcorn, and join us. Listen to Magical Rewind on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Brought to you by State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Plug in a Hyundai EV and the extraordinary happens. From the charge time and range in the Ioniq 5 and 6 to the adventurous spirit of the Kona Electric to the 601 horsepower Ioniq 5N. Hyundai EVs make the extraordinary electrifying. There's joy in every journey.
EPA estimated 303-mile driving range for 2024 Ioniq 5 SE SEL Limited rear-wheel drive and 361-mile driving range for 2024 Ioniq 6 SE long-range rear-wheel drive with fully charged battery. Actual range may vary. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details.
It's time for a Big Blue Kickoff Live.
Nobody can ever tell you that you couldn't do it, because you did.
On Giants.com.
You know what I saw? New York Giant Prime.
And the Giants mobile app.
17-14 is the final. One touchdown, we are world champions. Believe it, and it will happen.
Part of the Giants Podcast Network.
Let's go out there like a bunch of crazy dogs. Have some fun.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Big Blue Kickoff Live, presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Football Giants. I am John Schmeelk, joined by Matthew Citak, and we'll take a lot of your calls today, folks, at 201-939-4513. So a weird week here at the facility because it's a Thursday, but it's a player's day off. And this is what they do week one of the year, and they also do this coming off of the bye week, where they have the players in here working on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, off Thursday. Then they have work tomorrow, kind of their Friday walkthrough type of practice, and then they'll have their game on Sunday. And it's just weird, Matt, being around here on a Thursday and not having anything going on. It's a little strange.
Yeah, I mean, today's the day normally where Giants coordinators speak. We have Coach Dable's little flyby with the media, practice, players, and we got none of it today.
No, we do not.
We did do it yesterday, though, so it's not like it did not happen at all. But yeah, it is a little weird that we're this close to game day and nothing going on today.
Yeah, and on the Giants Little Podcast, you guys should go check it out, by the way, on the Giants Podcast Network podcast feed. I interviewed Matthew Collar this morning. He covers the Vikings for Purple Insider, kind of one of their independent guys that covers them. And he told me a couple interesting things about the Vikings that I thought would be a good kickoff point talking about today's show.
Let's hear it.
One, he thinks Jordan Addison is going to be good to go. He seemed like he was moving pretty well yesterday, and he said unless there's a setback, you expect that he is going to play. Josh Naylor is the only other player on the injury report. He's the other third wide receiver. He is questionable. Wasn't quite as sure about him, but he expects Addison to play. So that's number one. Also, talking to him about what this offense might look like with Sam Darnold, right? Because we know how Kevin O'Connell wants to run his offense when he is Kirk Cousins. And I asked him flat, I go, well, Matt, do you think this Vikings offense is going to be, all right, Vikings offense, remove Kirk Cousins, insert Sam Darnold? And he says, I don't think so. Talking to him, a big focus of the Vikings this offseason was going to be running the football better. And he thinks they're going to try to lean into that run game with Aaron Jones a lot more. They replaced Ezra Cleveland, and he was traded midseason last year, if you remember. They brought in Blake Brendel as a big, hulking, 320-pound, 6'7" guard. So they're going to try to lean into, I think, more of a power running game here, Matt, and I think try to take some of the pressure, based on what he's saying, off of Sam Darnold with their run game a little bit more than maybe we've seen the last couple of years, when the Vikings' run game, frankly, has been one of the least efficient in football.
Yeah, and that makes sense with one of the moves they made this offseason. They went out and signed veteran running back Aaron Jones. It was just a one-year deal. It wasn't, huge money, but given where the running back market has been, I would say the last couple of years, it wasn't nothing either. So it seems clear that they had some big plans for Aaron Jones, and that starts with, obviously running the ball and doing it quite often. As you mentioned, that will 100% help take some of the pressure off of Sam Darnold. We've heard a lot about what Sam Darnold is going to be this year for the Vikings, especially since J.J. McCarthy went down with the season-ending knee injury. And I, for one, think Sam Darnold is going to have a good year.
Me too.
I mean, and part of it is because I truly believe, and I said this to you on the show on Monday, I think Kevin O'Connell is just one of the best offensive play callers in the NFL. And I think he's just going to be able to implement his system and, sort of set Sam Darnold up for success. Put him in situations where, he's not going to have to make a ton of very difficult throws. It's going to be more easy throws and, short routes. He'll take the occasional, shots down the field, but I don't think it's going to be an overly complicated system for Sam Darnold to run. And, Sam Darnold did not really play last year. He started one game. Yep. He was the backup for Brock Purdy in San Francisco, but Kyle Shanahan and Kevin O'Connell, those two are connected. They run similar schemes. So it's not like he's brand new to this either. He had a full year of learning under Kyle Shanahan, who might be even better than Kevin O'Connell when it comes to offensive play calling. I certainly think he is.
He might be the best in the league.
But I think they're two of the best. So I do think Sam Darnold is going to be, a lot better than some people out there seem to think, especially like those in the media. I see people being like, oh, Sam Darnold, look what he did the first 6 years of his career. What's he going to do now? The Vikings are going to stink. But I really don't think that's going to be the case.
Well, I'm going to throw some stats out there that I sent to you guys yesterday. I was taking a look at this, and I actually got this off of what motivated me to look at it is on the Athletic Football Show podcast. We had Robert Mays on the Giants Huddle podcast earlier in the year, and they were going through some of the stuff with the Vikings. And as I joked on the show, I think was with you earlier in the week, how I'm basically like Denzel Washington in the movie Unstoppable, and I'm on the Sam Darnold train, and I'm taking it to the last stop. Like, I'm on it. I'm not getting off. If this thing crashes, I'm on it. If it goes well, I'm on it. And I really think, and you kind of stopped short of using the word create, but I don't think you should have. I think Kevin O'Connell is going to create a lot of opportunities for him to hit open wide receivers. There's a reason he's one of the best coordinators in the league, right? Or one of the best play callers in the league, I should say. He's the head coach. And you have Justin Jefferson there, who if you single team him, Sam Darnold's just going to throw it to him every time.
Yep.
Which would be a great plan, by the way. And if you're going to double team him, then you have the guy you also used a first round pick on 2 years ago that can probably beat man-to-man coverage.
Who scored 10 touchdowns as a rookie last year.
Bingo. And if you look at his numbers and how they spiked after Justin Jefferson was out with, that hamstring, and then later on he had the chest injury, right, with the bruised lung, that he can play well. Now, there's no TJ Hawkinson. That's going to hurt. He was kind of their underneath option last year. Who's going to be that underneath option this year? I don't know. They have Oliver and Muntz as their two tight ends. Both guys are more blockers, and he thinks they will go to more 12 personnel, run, play action out of 12. And the other thing that Collar told me, which I thought was interesting, was in the offseason, you saw, and I'm not surprised by this, in practice, in training camp, you saw a ton of Sam Darnold flashes. Like, oh, man, that's a good pass. Wow, he's mobile. He's got a big arm. He can throw it down the field. And you're like, wow, this guy, you can see why teams keep giving him chances, why he was a top 5 pick in the draft. But he said, then you got to the joint practices, and then you saw, all right, well, he threw the ball into traffic in the middle of the field a couple too many times. Some of those Sam Darnold things that have popped up over the course of his career. So his last stretch of starting games, Matt, was in 2022 with the Panthers. And he was a starter their final 7 weeks of the year. They had one bye week in there, so it was 6 weeks for him. And when I go through the rankings, it'll be 7 games for the other quarterbacks. In those 6 games, the Panthers went 4-2. He was second in the NFL in EPA per dropback. That's expected points added. It's an advanced metric that takes a lot of things into consideration. Second in EPA per dropback, behind only Jared Goff, and slightly ahead of Patrick Mahomes. Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Number 2 in yards per attempt behind Tua during that same stretch. Threw the ball down the field a lot. Third in the NFL in percentage of dropbacks that yielded a first down or touchdown. That's a big, because that shows you you're throwing beyond the sticks or you're throwing it into the end zone, right? So it shows that you're getting the ball down the field and your passes have a lot of worth and value to your team. Third in the percentage of dropbacks that yielded a first down or touchdown. And then he was 14th in completions of 20 or more yards during that stretch. But again, one fewer game than a lot of other quarterbacks because of the late bye. So that probably would be in the top 10 if he had the same amount of games. The thing is that the counting stats weren't great because they didn't throw the ball a ton. So I'm trying to connect this stat here to what Collar told me on that Giants Huddle podcast episode. Is that up yet, by the way, Pearson? It is. How I think they're probably going to try to limit his attempts have him in the mid-20s, run the ball with Aaron Jones, but I think there's going to be a lot of shots here. I think it's going to be when he throws it, it's going to be a lot of stuff down the field. Now, Shane Bowen's defense is designed to try to take a lot of that stuff away, but if the Vikings can run the ball well enough, and I talked to Shane about this off the podium yesterday, I sent you the audio, and I said, well, how do you calculate the pluses and minuses and your decision-making and how you handle Justin Jefferson? If you do a true double, if you do a safety over the top, do you do a bracket? Do you just play a man-on-man? He goes, look, well, yeah, you could do the safety over the top with a split safety, and you can do a bracket, but then your box is light, so they can attack you with the run. So I think a big part of this game, trying to bring everything full circle here, is can they run the ball with Aaron Jones to force the Giants to get out of that safety over the top on Justin Jefferson that could yield some big plays down the field. So all this stuff is connecting. It's going to be a big numbers game, I think, for the Giants defense, Matt. How many guys do they have to put in the box? How many guys do they have to stay deep? My thought is that they're going to try to stop the run with their front seven, or if they're a nickel, front six first. Try to keep that guy over the top to prevent the explosive plays to Jefferson and Addison. Play quarters, play cover 2, play cover 3, things like that. Well, cover 3, you can bring the safety down. But make the Vikings get you out of that. And I think that's how I would handle it. Make the Vikings force you to commit another person to the run. I'm not going to let those receivers and Darnold beat me down the field. And unless Jones is, just gutting me again and again and again, which he's really good, it's possible, I would try to keep those safeties deep over the top.
Yeah. I mean, I agree, especially when you have a wide receiver as talented as Justin Jefferson. I mean, we've seen him make just some insane receptions since he came into the NFL, and he does it on a consistent basis. So, yeah, they will take some shots to him because, quite honestly, all you need to do is throw the ball in his general vicinity, and there's a pretty good chance he's going to come down with it.
Even if he's covered.
Even if he's double teamed. We've seen him do it countless times.
You're not wrong.
But yeah, I agree that honestly that should be the game plan, because it's no surprise that the Giants struggled to stop the run last year. And they have it's been a couple seasons now that they've really struggled in that area. Now, I think it's fair to say that probably is a big reason why Shane Bowen is now the defensive coordinator here, because
absolutely
his defenses with the Titans excelled against the run. Were one of the best, I think, all 3 years that he was there. So, yes, if I'm Minnesota, I'm trying to establish the run early and often. And if I'm the Giants, I'm making sure I stop that run. And just in terms of what you said a little earlier about no TJ Hawkinson, I wouldn't be surprised at all if Aaron Jones is a decently big part of the passing game.
Yeah,
because he is a very good pass catcher out of the backfield.
Yeah, great call.
And when you mentioned those two other tight ends on the team, I mean, no offense to those guys, they aren't that intimidating. And you have Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson on the outside, but you don't really have a great, I would say, very reliable pass catcher otherwise. Aaron Jones fits that bill, so I wouldn't be surprised if they use him in sort of the short passing game in replace of Hawkinson. Not this weekend, until Hawkinson returns.
I'm with you. I believe, and I think I said Josh Naylor before. I think he's a former NBA player, right? Josh Nayland. Was he like an NBA player in the early 2000s? Jalen Naylor, I apologize, is that third wide receiver on the Vikings. Because they are shallow behind Jefferson and Addison, right?
Yeah.
Tristan Jackson, Trent Sherfield, you remember him from the Arizona Cardinals? And I don't remember where he was last year. Was he with the Rams last year, maybe, Trent Sherfield? I don't remember. I remember him from the Cardinals. And then you have Brandon Powell. So these aren't exactly big names behind Jefferson and Addison, so I think you're really going to look to try to back up the I think he was with the Dolphins last year, Sherfield, actually.
Bills.
So Bills, too.
Dolphins the year before.
Dolphins the year before. So he's been that long since he's been on the Cardinals?
You see where he went to college, though?
Oh, geez, he's a Vandy guy?
Vandy guy. Anchor down.
All right, so now if he
now
has
you better watch out for him.
So if he has a big game this week, that is also going to be your fault.
That's fair.
No question about it. Look, they have a pretty good offensive line. I think the whole Garrett Bradbury, Dexter Lawrence, and we can switch now over to the defensive matchup here, I think, Matt. And we're trying to kind of, tomorrow, we'll let Matt and Paul do the full preview. I'm trying to kind of go inside the Vikings a little bit today to just dig into their team specifically. And their tackles are good. Christian Darrisaw and Brian O'Neill are two good quality tackles. Darrisaw versus Brian Burns is going to be a fantastic matchup. He might hold Burns to without a sack. That's how good Christian Darrisaw is. So I think where the Giants' advantage could lay here is inside. We saw Dexter Lawrence against Garrett Bradbury 2 years ago. Did not go well for Garrett Bradbury.
Nope.
He's one of those 295-pound undersized centers. It's not his fault. I mean, still, folks, just think of your head. You got to try to stop a guy that weighs more than 50 pounds than you do. Good luck stopping that dude.
It's tough for any center in the NFL to slow down Dexter Lawrence.
Let alone somebody that's sub 300 pounds. 100%. And then their guards are not proven. I mentioned Blake Brandel. He's the new guy they brought in. And then Ed Ingram's been there a few years. Again, he's not a great pass protection guy. He's more of like a big mauler type. So I think the Giants, if Bowen can, get Dexter in some one-on-ones inside, maybe run some games and run some loopers in there, I think that they can take advantage of the interior of that Vikings offensive line just a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. And, we've been talking for months since the trade for Brian Burns, how between Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, and Kayvon Thibodeau, you just can't double team them all. You just can't. There are not enough blockers on the field for you.
Well, my guess is they're going to double team Dex in this game, and they're going to trust their tackles, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would. Honestly, that's what I would do.
I think you have to.
And I will take my chances with that. I mean, I know you just mentioned how those two tackles are good, and they definitely are. I mean, just look at the contract that the Vikings gave Christian Darrisaw this offseason. They clearly believe he is their franchise tackle. But I'm going to, trust Brian Burns and Kayvon in these one-on-one situations. I mean, during the preseason, we only got a glimpse of it, but I keep referring back to that the first half of that Houston Texans game, especially in that goal-to-go situation, that fourth down play in particular where Brian Burns just put a nasty spin move on the tackle, got right by him and right immediately into the face of C.J. Stroud, who had no choice but to quickly get rid of it, right into the hands of Dexter Lawrence, who batted it down on fourth down and caused a turnover on down. So you're right. If I'm the Vikings, I am double-teaming Dexter Lawrence because that is definitely, between their 5 offensive linemen, the toughest matchup for them in the interior. And if I'm the Giants, I'm perfectly happy with that. I'm going to trust Burns and Kayvon to hit home and do what they both were brought here to do.
That's why you trade and pay for Brian Burns.
Yeah.
That's why you draft Kayvon Thibodeau in the top 10. So if you get single teams, you expect them to win.
And while those two tackles we've talked about, Darrisaw and O'Neal, they definitely are good, they both had their moments last year where they I would say struggled a little bit.
Absolutely.
I think I checked this morning, they both were down for like 6 sacks allowed on the season, which is not awful, but it's also not, amazing.
Yeah. I mean, six for an offensive tackle is solid, but it isn't like all-pro Andrew Thomas level tackle play.
Yeah.
Correct. I'm with you on that. All right, let's flip over now to the Vikings defense here. And the other thing Collar told me again, which I thought was interesting, again, find that interview in the John Tuttle podcast. We also, on that episode, by the way, have a fantastic interview with a analyst that really goes deep in on Shane Bowen's defense. He's worked in that defenses before as a coach, so he really kind of gets into the nuts and bolts of everything Shane Bowen tries to do on defense. It's a really good interview. I cannot stress enough that you guys should go check that out. Really interesting. I did the interview last Friday. We do a little bit specifically.
Cody Alexander.
Yep, Cody Alexander from matchquarters.com. And check that out. It's awesome. Like, you get more detail, and Pearson can attest to this, on what Bowen does defensively. Positioning, moving guys, stopping the run, blitzes, everything is in there. It's really good. Cody goes in depth. So if you really want to know what to expect from the Giants defense, go check that out in the John Tuttle podcast. So the Vikings defense now, the thing that Collar told me I thought was interesting, Matt, is he thinks because they have, in his opinion, is better talent on defense, adding Stephon Gilmore
for sure.
at corner. They did lose Danielle Hunter, which is a big loss for them.
Dallas Turner.
They bring in Dallas Turner, and they bring in Grenard, too, as a free agent in the offseason, right? He thinks he's still going to do Brian Flores things, drop 8, stack the line, bring 8, sometimes drop, show blitz, then bail out of it, all those sorts of things to confuse a quarterback. But he doesn't think it's going to be as crazy, because he doesn't have to be as crazy. Andrew Van Ginkel's another guy they added in the offseason who was with the Miami, because they have better talent on that side of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, that is for sure. We just discussed some of the players that they brought in, and, Danielle Hunter, certainly that is a big loss. But if you're going to replace him with just about anyone in the draft, Dallas Turner is probably one of the best, if not the best guys you could replace him with. Yeah. And they brought in Stephon Gilmore just a couple of weeks ago, which, it's not, I would say it's not always the greatest when it's 2 weeks before the end of training camp and you're just bringing a guy in for the first time. and signing him.
We've all
and
been
then
there.
expecting him to, start right away.
Hello, Adoree Jackson.
Hello, Adoree Jackson is right. But if there's one type of guy that you're confident in being able to do that, it's a long-time NFL veteran who's just proven to be one of the best at his position for almost a decade now.
And it's funny, so the Vikings, they played more cover 0 last year than any other team. They were almost at 13%. Guess who was second?
Giants.
Correct. At 10.1% with Wink Martindale. But if you take the cover 0 out of it, the Vikings played less cover 1 than any other team in the league last year. They were almost exclusively a zone team when they weren't in that cover 0 situation. But with a guy like Gilmore, Byron Murphy, solid cornerback.
Yep.
Shaq Griffin's been a veteran in this league for a long time. I think they probably feel a little bit better about that. So I think you'll see a little bit more man-to-man. And it's funny, last year, they never rushed 4 guys. They either rushed 3 or they rushed 6 or 5, right? I think we'll see a little bit more of a standard NFL distribution of rushers and corners because, again, the talent is just a little bit better.
Yeah, and we haven't even mentioned Harrison Smith at safety, who's been in Minnesota forever now and is, one of the most consistent players at his position, I think, in the NFL. He just year after year gets the job done.
Yeah.
He's very good. So, yeah, they certainly have a lot of talent there. I think this week 1 matchup is going to be a fantastic first test for the Giants offensive line, the new look offensive line, because as Brian Daboll spoke about this 2 days ago, this is a pressure defense. They are going to come at you often with a lot of guys, and this will be a great first test to see, I guess, how much of a jump that this offensive line really has taken since last year.
And not even necessarily, Matt, a jump physically. It's the mental jump, right?
Oh, yeah.
The setting the rules, passing guys off, understanding who's coming and who's not based on formation and tendencies, right? And just trusting that group of veterans to communicate and be aligned to handle some of these alignments, overloads, all those types of things that the Vikings do to try to screw you up. It's their job to make sure they keep Daniel in a good spot. They communicate with Daniel. And it's a big game for Daniel mentally, too, to work with the offensive line to get all that settled. So I'm with you. Brian Daboll's talked all off season. And, he's always one to maybe not express confidence is the wrong word, but he's never one that tries to go over the top and praising anyone. He keeps everything level. I mean, he hasn't been shy about saying what a difference having all these veterans on the offensive line have been. I mean, he's been pretty open about that. And I think, to your point, if you're ever going to get a better test than this Vikings pressure defense, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned this. The communication is going to be, I think, the most important aspect of their success on Sunday. Because, as you said, they disguise a lot of their blitzes. They try to confuse the quarterback, the offensive line. So having the 5 starting offensive linemen be able to communicate and be on the same page is going to be crucial. And, of course, it's not ideal, I would say, that the starting 5 offensive linemen really only got all on the field together. I think it was last week for the first time. But on the flip side of that, outside of John Michael Schmitz, all 4 other starters, these are veteran guys that have been around the league for a while and know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And even Andrew Thomas in the locker room yesterday, when asked about that, said, we're good. All of these guys have been here long enough, been around the league long enough where we were able to get up to speed. We're all on the same page. We're ready to go. And I think that is going to be, crucial to how that unit in particular performs on Sunday.
Yeah, and I think it helps, Matt, even though they haven't all been together, and then we'll get to your calls coming up next year. Andrew Thomas has been next to John Runyon for the better part of the last 3 or 4 weeks. I know Runyon's been injured a little bit, but even before the injury, Runyon at that point had moved to left guard for a bit, so they had worked together enough, I think, where I feel good about them working together.
Yep.
And then you have Illuminor and Van Roten on the other side who have history working together with this offensive line coach in Vegas. So I don't worry about those guys necessarily working together well. And Runyon was next to Schmitz for the first, then Schmitz got hurt. I wonder how many practices Runyon actually had next to Schmitz. I think their injuries did not overlap a ton.
They did also have the spring, though.
That's a great point. They did have the spring. That's a really good point. So they did have the spring there. So the guys in their little pods have had opportunities to kind of work together, even if they have not been on the field all together at the 5 time, at the same time. All right, I'm very happy I only have to read this 2 more times. Here we go. Giants Fan Fest on Friday. Free and open to the public. It will take place on Friday, September 6th, presented by Wendy's. MetLife Stadium, doors opening at 5 p.m. We'll celebrate 100 seasons of Giants football with a ceremony honoring the top 100 Giants, autographs, and panel discussions by Giants legends, historic displays, photos with the Lombardi trophies, and an incredible drone light and fireworks show to end the night. Get your tickets now by visiting Giants.com/fanfest. Then the next morning, you can run or walk with Giants legends. The Giants Foundation will host a 5K race and kids run presented by Quest on Saturday, September 7th, 9 a.m. MetLife Stadium. Net proceeds will benefit the Giants Foundation. Everyone participating will receive a commemorative t-shirt, and after the race, stay for a festival with appearances by Giants legends and a live DJ. Register now at Giants.com/5K. Guys, the Fan Fest is going to be off the hook awesome. I've seen videos of the drone show and fireworks show that's going to take place after the thing. It's really cool, and they have like audio and music to go along with it. It's very highly produced. It's going to be really, really good. I've seen they've been working hard on that audio back in the back with one of our top men, making sure everything gets edited there properly. Mr. Rob Browning all over that. So that's that. Also want to remind everybody that Big Blue Kickoff Live is back on Saturdays on WFAN. Set your alarms, baby. We'll be an hour this year. Last year, only a half an hour. We were at 9 o'clock. Well, we're an hour this year, but the pen inside to pay for the hour show was to go from 7 to 8 a.m. So if you're up early Saturday mornings, you're an early riser, you're driving around, Big Blue Kickoff Live, myself, Sean Morash, will be live on the Fan at 7 a.m. on Saturday morning. Make sure you check that out. I have a little interview with Eli Manning that'll be appearing on that show, as well as the radio pregame on Sunday. So make sure you go check that out as well. All right, I've been keeping the callers holding long enough at 201-939-4513. And again, Matt will be with Paul tomorrow, and they'll do the full diagnostic preview of Giants and Vikings getting ready for Sunday. All right, let's go to Wilson and Roxbury. He's going to lead us off today. Wilson, let's get us off to a good start here, brother.
Well, hey, Danny, I think I'm going to bring my A game. I hope.
You didn't sound very confident with that first word out of your mouth, but go ahead, Wilson. I trust you.
Thank you.
Go ahead. What do you got?
On the game, I got a couple of things. But on the game, the only thing I'm going to say on the game is this. It's going to sound crazy, but I say crazy stuff all the time.
That's true.
I don't care if they got to go. Well, I don't care if they got to go. I don't have to go if they want to go on fourth down as many times as they have to. They have to win this game. This game, I know it's crazy, Johnny. It's a must-win for Daniel Jones, for Brian Dable, for everybody. They cannot lose this game. If they lose this game, man, it can go south pretty quickly.
Well, Wilson, look, I think they have to play really well. And I know winning and losing is what matters. But I don't know what you think. I don't know what you think, Matt. But I think you look at these two teams, you stack up their rosters. I mean, coin flip this game. I don't think there's a whole ton differentiating the rosters of these two teams. So, look, this game, Wilson, is going to come down to which team settles for field goals in the red zone versus touchdowns, right? Which team throws a, ill-timed interception or fumbles a punt. And by the way, I feel better about Daniel Jones than I do about Sam Darnold in terms of protecting the football. So those are the little things, Wilson, that this is going to come down to. Is it very important based on the schedule for the Giants to walk out of this game with a win? I think it is, but I think to call week one a must-win is probably a little bit strong.
I know, Johnny, but listen, I'll phrase it differently. It's a much more important game to the Giants than to the Vikings. The Vikings.
Okay, that's fair. I'll buy that.
Okay, is that fair?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
That if you're gonna weigh it, it holds a lot more water for the Giants than it's for the Vikings lose. This is another game, but if the Giants lose, it could really go different south quickly. Okay, that's what I think. I don't know, but. Anyway, another thing is, Johnny. Listen, I know. Hopefully, I don't want to tell you how you do the job, but hopefully, I don't have to hear every week that Tommy DeVito or Drew Lock, and last year it was Tyrod Taylor, that these guys are better than Daniel Jones. I mean, if I have to hear that every week from some callers, I'm just gonna throw my TV out the window because. I'm
just happy you're watching us on TV.
I know you don't like.
What? I don't know. Go ahead, Wilson. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying. No, Matt. Let me just. I'm just saying that I know you don't have to like somebody. Like personally, you guys know that I don't think Brian Dable's a good head coach to me, but I don't bring it up every week.
No, you don't. That's true. You're right about that. You don't hammer it. I'm with you. That's
because
fair.
It is what it is. It is what it is. If I ever feel that I have to, maybe once because something was outrageous, then I'll bring it up. But because it goes beyond funny to just like moronic. I mean, to hear that Tommy DeVito is better than Daniel Jones and to actually believe it's not funny anymore. It's just. I mean, what are we doing? So I hope, Johnny, that like I said, you do a great job. I'm just saying that hopefully we don't have to hear it over and over and over because it's going to get old pretty quickly. You know what I'm saying?
Wilson, appreciate the call. And you know my policy.
Right,
I will take calls. I do not tell the callers what to say. They are free to come with their own opinions. If we disagree with them, we will vociferously disagree with them, depending on how strongly we feel about it.
I still think we should just have Charlie and Wilson on the air at the same time.
I was going to say,
we could just leave the room.
That was Pearson very much like a not direct attack, but it was definitely like non-direct warfare going on there between Wilson and Charlie.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
That was a cyber attack. That's what that was.
Yeah, and I mean, to what Wilson said, I mean, you and I have spoken for months now. Anytime that this topic comes up, we've been on the same page. Like Daniel Jones or not, he is the most talented quarterback on this team right now. And I frankly don't think it's very close.
That was a little unconventional warfare right there between Wilson and Charlie. A little indirect conflict.
So Wilson, the two of us agree, but as John said, we can't help what other people call in.
And we like people calling in with their opinion. So absolutely. But yeah, look, he's the quarterback, guys. Like, accept it. Like, that's where we're at. You might not be happy about it, and I understand and respect your opinion, but he's been clearly the best quarterback all offseason.
Not even close.
When he was just doing 7-on-7s in the spring, he was the best quarterback based on what he was doing. So just keep that in mind moving forward, and I get your frustration. You're more than welcome to call. I'm never going to tell you that you can't express your opinion. And that's kind of where we're at here. All right, let's go to Vinny in Florida, Pearson. He's up next. Vinny, what's up?
Hey, guys. Long time to speak.
Hey, Vin.
What's up, Vin?
Hey, I have been thinking. I got a couple of questions about the offense. I've been thinking the last couple of nights as I go to bed. This is going to be a really different team when we talk offensively. And you guys, I listen to you guys as much as I can, have set the expectation that the offensive line is going to be much improved. However, it's not going to be a top-tier offensive line. So in thinking that, I'm saying to myself, well, does that mean possibly 3 sacks in a game or 2 sacks in a game?
Yeah, Vinny, we talked about this, and I'm not sure. I think I put this in the over-unders, or maybe it was in the fact of fictions we didn't get to. That's possible. I think I put the over-under more or less for the Giants' sacks allowed this year at 45, which would be somewhere between 2 or 3 a game. If 17 games, 45 sacks, that comes out to like 2.65 or something like that.
Yeah. And does that give them time to go 4 wide receiver sets, go 5 wide receiver sets? I mean,
I think that's the goal, Vin. That's the goal.
Yeah, I mean, how exciting is this going to get? And before I ask you to answer it, I just wanted to say that was Wilson. That was your best call, buddy, that I've ever heard. And it was the most intelligent that I didn't say what is going on. Very good aspect. I loved it.
Wilson got a season off to a strong start today. He really did. That was a strong start to the season by Wilson.
We appreciate that, Wilson.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So as I lay in bed last night, I'm saying, hey, Saquon Barkley is not here. He's the enemy now. He's on the Eagles.
Sure.
But, can we expect 100 yards out of a combined team? Can we expect that if we get a 10-point lead, we can run the ball? And these are things I don't know, but I tell you, I would get real pumped up if this was a 4-receiver set at times, 5-receiver set at times, and we see, Bryce Ford Wheaton on the field with, Slayton and Neighbors and Hyatt. I mean, it could be exciting if he gets time.
Vinny, I don't know about 5, but I think you will see 4, and rather than 4 with Bryce Ford Wheaton, maybe 4 with Theo Johnson, or 4 with maybe they have Tyrone Tracy in the backfield who used to be a wide receiver, and you motion him out, so you go 5 wide but you have the running back there as an option to help in pass protection. If the front shows you something where you need the extra pass protector, then you can kind of motion him back into the backfield as a pass protector. So I think, Matt, things like that are probably a lot more possible given where the strengths of this roster are.
Yeah, I think that you're 100% right. And Vinny, just towards your question or your point about the run game, if there's a 10-point lead, they brought Devin Singletary in for a reason. Brian Daboll has spoken many times about how familiar he is with Devin Singletary as a player. They overlapped in Buffalo for 3 years, I believe.
Sounds right.
3-4 years.
Mm-hmm.
He knows him, and they went out and signed him on the first day of free agency. If you look at his numbers, he's averaged 4.6 yards per carry in his career. And not all of those seasons were behind, the best offensive lines.
Yeah, I will say this. I don't think, Vinny, and Matt, I'm sure you'll agree, this will not be as explosive of a running game that you had with Saquon, where you can, break a long one. Remember, Devin Singletary ran in the 4.6s. That's why he dropped where he did in the draft. He's not a top speed burner, but he's low to the ground. He's got good vision. He's quick. He can make guys miss, and he's got good contact balance. So I think this run game should be steadier than it's been over the last couple years, even though it might not be as explosive.
Yeah, and when the Giants get into short yardage situations, whether it's 2nd and 1, 3rd and 1, or goal line situations, I'm very confident in Devin Singletary's ability to get that couple of yards to get the first down or get the touchdown. And
he's so low to the ground that helps.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Vin.
Yeah, well, I hope so, because last year, even with Barkley, we couldn't gain a yard if we needed it because there was just no push on the offensive line. And I'm curious, are we going to see Evan Neal as a tight end? In some short yardage packages, are we going to see that new rookie that just made the team that I heard was a fullback last year? Are we going to go in power formations where we can just impose our will, for lack of a better word, on a team? When you're got 4th and 1 or 3rd and 1 or whatever.
Yeah, it's entirely
possible. I can take that off the air. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Vinny. It's entirely possible. We've seen since Brian Daboll took over as head coach, there are times where, when it's a short yardage situation, they bring in an offensive lineman as, that 6 offensive lineman or an extra tight end to help block and help push the line of scrimmage to gain that 1 or 2 yards.
No, I was talking about. Sorry, I didn't mean to freak you out there.
No, it's all good.
Hey, Bob, I'm going to send it to the printer for you. Okay, no problem. I'm trying to produce another interview while I'm doing this show. Sorry, go ahead, Matt. I didn't mean to distract you.
No, all good. But yeah, I think we don't know this for sure, but I would not be surprised at all if Evan Neal or one of the other backup offensive linemen are brought in as like a 6 offensive lineman, a second tight end in running situations where they need to pick up 1 or 2 yards on the ground. We've seen it before in the last couple of years, and I don't see any reason why it wouldn't happen again. So, yeah, we might see Evan Neal in situations like that.
Yep, and, maybe it's Stinney, and you slide one of the tackles out, right, to be the last guy in the line. And, Stinney acts as like the interior guy, and then Illuminor or Andrew Thomas, I guess they would technically be the extra tight end because of the last guy in the line, even though they're not the 6th offensive lineman. So they could work those formations in different ways.
Plus the Giants, brought back, he's now on the practice squad, but Jakob Johnson, our guy that we both love, who is, fullback / tight end. And, we'll have to see if he ends up getting elevated for game day this week or, any week. But if he is, I fully would expect him to be on the field in situations like that as an extra blocker.
You are very invested in Jakob Johnson.
I like Jakob Johnson. I like having a fullback.
he's definitely one of your guys.
I miss the days of like Henry Hynoski, Jim Finn. No, I like my fullbacks.
No Madison Hedgecock reference?
Oh, Madison Hedgecock as well.
You forgot Madison. He would not be very happy with you.
Henry Hynoski?
Hino the Rhino. Come on, of course. I'm with you.
I miss the days of fullbacks.
Yeah, it's a dying breed, man. You don't have many Kyle Juszczyks running around anymore. It's just,
Mike Allstats?
Yeah, and who's the big 300-pound fullback for the Ravens? That name I can't think of. He was a converted offensive lineman. And he's still there. Is their fullback?
Oh,
I can't remember his damn name, but he's a hell of a player.
It just came out the Chargers to have one of their backup defensive linemen, some 290, 300-pound guy, is now listed as their starting fullback as well.
I like that.
Patrick Ricard.
Patrick Ricard.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's exactly who it is. And I'm surprised you haven't been the put Elijah Chapman at fullback bandwagon.
I mean, if Jakob Johnson wasn't on this team, maybe I would be.
All right, well, I think you should try to get that bandwagon going before it happens. Otherwise, I'm going to call you a bandwagon jumper. I need you to be the pilot of that wagon. You love the Baby Bison.
I do love the Baby Bison.
What if you had to choose between Baby Bison and Jakob Johnson? Then what would you do?
Oh, that's a tough decision. I don't know. I don't want to have to make that decision.
I love it. Let's go to Tim in Charleston. He's up next. Hey, Tim, what's going on, man?
Hey, guys, good to talk to you. I got 3 things. I'll go through them as quickly as possible. The last one's going to be the game.
Yes, sir.
With a couple of ancillary comments, but the second one's going to be cyber attack 2. And the first one, John, did you get a chance to look? Did you get a chance to look at that email, John?
Tim, I have been all over the place this week. I will. While you're making your points, I'm going to look at it. Okay, how about that?
All right, and forward it to Matt since he's mentioned it. I think 2, maybe 3 times. But let him read it and get his feedback. But anyway, we'll move on from there.
Matt has told me not to send him any of your emails. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
Go ahead.
Then why did he like me on Facebook dating?
Oh my God. Jeez. And we've gone too far. Go ahead, Tim. What are your points on the game?
But anyhow, so I was going to say this regardless of Wilson's comment, but thank you, Wilson. Is the thing I was going to say is I'm just tired of everybody piling on Daniel Jones. I mean, Giants fans I'm talking about, and even personally running into them. And there are a lot of them down here. But this is what I'll say. I always ask them, what do you think of Phil Simms? And they're like, oh, I love Phil Simms. Yeah, you love Phil Simms. Well, what was his first really good season? It was his season 6, 1984, his breakout year when he threw for 4,000 yards. And that's when Phil Simms became Phil Simms. And so, this is his now, and we it is what it is. It'll be what it's going to be, and that's all I'll say. But, for our little friend in Maine, ask him next time he has something to say what he thinks of Phil Simms, because he would have dumped Phil Simms the way he wants to dump DJ. So I'm going to just leave that where it is.
We are very much in a Beetlejuice situation right now, by the way. Way too many people have mentioned Charlie's name. Like Pearson, he's going to call.
I never mention his name. I say our little friend in Maine.
I know.
So anyway, so to the season, obviously, yes, this game is huge. And to the last caller, I hope the Giants do get some 10-point leads so that we find out if they run the ball. I want to point out a couple of things. One, John, I was the one who started the Elijah Chapman at fullback.
No, you're right. You did. Thank you. You're right. No, you did. Yeah, that is fair. That is fair.
So, Matt, you should definitely look into it.
You can call Pilot.
I will. The other name I'll throw to Matt because it was before his time. I'm sure he knows the name Maurice Carthon.
Of course.
But, this, and so, I want to see Dex go to town on the center and push the pocket up the middle and let the edges clean up. And then I the weather's going to be great. I think it's high as 71 for Sunday.
Chance of rain, though, apparently, is my understanding. It's like 20. Somebody told me today it was like 20 to 25%. I don't look at the weather because I don't trust it. So
that's a 1 in 4 chance it's going to rain at some point that day. That's all.
Okay.
But anyway, so going from there is the other thing is.
Did it move up to Saturday? The rain, maybe.
Yeah.
It moved up to Saturday.
Looks like it.
Got it.
So definitely, I mean, as close to a must-win as a Game 1 can be. But the thing I'll say is, again, my bold prediction on Daniel, I'm sticking to that, all in on that. And I want to see, I really also can't wait for Game 4 against Dallas at home. I also can't wait to see the uniforms this week. But I want to see Dexter Lawrence manhandle Cooper Beebe or whatever the hell his name is, a rookie center. I want to see him get manhandled.
Well, that'll be Week 4. That's Week 4 you're talking about, right?
Week 4.
Yeah, Week 4. Yeah.
Well, Dexter's going to manhandle everybody under 300 pounds, so that's easy.
Let's be honest, Tim. He manhandles people over 300 pounds, under 300 pounds. He manhandles everybody.
200, and he manhandles 300 pounders sometimes.
Correct.
So I just wanted to mention those things. I think I had another point, but it slipped my aging brain. And let's just go Giants, win by 8.
Thank you, Tim.
Thanks, Tim.
Appreciate the call.
He brought up, Dexter. Obviously, the last 2 seasons, Dexter Lawrence has been one of the best, if not the best, interior defensive lineman in the league. But the moment I truly, realized just how much of a force he was in the interior, and I will never forget this, that game against the Colts 2 years ago, when he literally just pushed over Quentin Nelson, who was one of the best guards in the NFL for years now.
Put him right on his back.
Literally put him on his back with one hand and then grabbed Nick Foles with the other and brought him down for a sack.
Unbelievable play.
One of the most impressive sacks I've seen from an interior lineman ever.
Pearson, you can screen another one or two. We got time here. Let's go to Aiden in New Jersey. He's up next. Hi, Aiden.
Hey, how's it going?
What's up, buddy?
What's up?
Hey, I'd like to make some predictions before I get into my point.
Sure, go ahead. Cool. What do you got?
Okay, so I have three. I'd say Malik Neighbors is going to break Saquon's rookie record per reception.
Okay, that's a good one. I think Saquon was what, like was he
91?
91 was it?
91.
Yeah,
I think he has a better chance because back then it was 16 games.
No,
Saquon tied Odell for the record.
Oh, so they're tied at 91. Okay,
yeah. But Odell only did it in 12 games. Yeah, but Odell did it in 12 games, which is even more impressive. But yes, that is the rookie record.
And I imagine Odell holds the rookie yardage record, correct? He must.
He has to.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Malik Neighbors could break that as well.
What is that record? Do you know offhand, Aiden, what the rookie receiving yard record is?
Not offhand, no.
What do you got, Matt?
Odell had 1,305 yards
in 12 games.
In 12 games. That has to be the Giants' rookie record.
God,
that's insane.
That is insane.
12 games, right?
Yep, 12 games.
Wow. Okay.
And by the way, he only played like half the snaps in the first game versus Atlanta too that year. He didn't even play the full game. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he actually had a touchdown in that game too.
Well, it's because the last 4 weeks of the season, the lowest yardage he had was 130. And he had a 3-touchdown game, a 2-touchdown game, 7 touchdowns in the last 4 weeks.
The Dallas game, the Rams won. I know 3 against Washington.
Yeah, just crazy.
That is wild. Yeah, I mean I'm doing quick math. That's 118 yards per game. Doing quick math in my head, something like that. I think maybe last year, probably a little more than that actually. Maybe 100. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, Aiden, what else you got?
My other two, I'm gonna go with this one's a little bold. I'm gonna say Tyler Nubin is gonna break the rookie pick six record. I thought it's tied with 3 players had 3. I'm gonna say he gets 4
pick sixes.
Yeah.
Okay. How about the rookie interception record in general? Or you're just focusing on the pick sixes here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, pick sixes. In general, I'm not sure. I looked up Giants for Giants all time. It's 8. I say that's just too hard to break.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. I like it, Aiden. These are pretty bold. All right.
Yeah, and then the last one I'm gonna say Daniel Jones sets his career high in passing touchdown. He had 24 his rookie year.
If he can get over 24 this year, I think that would be a very successful season.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, what's your point on the game, Aiden?
Well, I want to talk about like Brian Dable and the coaching staff. I feel like I want to know what guys think because like obviously year 1 he exceeded expectations. Last year was down, and then I mean this year it's year 3. I was wondering like how much pressure do you think's on him and the coaching staff going into this year? And obviously last year there were a few games that weren't managed as well, and the Giants should have won. And yeah, I want to know your thoughts on that.
Thank you, Aiden. Appreciate the call.
Thank you, Aiden.
Look, I know a lot of people talking hot seat and stuff like that. Guys, John Mara hates changing coaches. Like, he does not want to change coaches every 2 years. I think there is a belief in Brian Dable that he's a good coach. He did win Coach of the Year 2 years ago. I think there's belief that he's a very good offensive coach as well, and then that he's taken over play calling duties. If the offense takes a big jump, I think that plays a huge factor in all this too. I think they hope that they can pair Brian Dable with Joe Shane for a very long time here as the head coach and GM and let them build this thing together. Adam Schefter always puts this out every year. The Giants have the second youngest roster in football, and they have the youngest starting 22 in football. So this is a young team, guys. They want this group to be able to grow together under the same system. Like, that's what they want to see. So look, there's pressure every year. Brian Dable wants to win games. He's very competitive. He feels pressure no matter what. I would not be talking about any of that sort of stuff, especially this early in the year. I think the hope here is, Matt, that both those guys, Joe Schoen and Brian Dable, will be here for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is very obvious that is the hope. Obviously, you never know what could happen, but that was clear when they were both brought in 2 years ago, that because of how familiar they were and how close they were at Buffalo, that the hope was that the two of them would be here for, as you said, a very long time. And quite honestly, like, I know how poorly last season went. I don't think that original plan has changed, at least not as of right now.
No, I'm with you. All right, we said his name too many times. I knew that. I saw that thing flash in Pearson. I knew it was him. I felt like Luke Skywalker. You know what I mean? Just like hearing the Obi-Wan Kenobi voice while I'm flying the X-Wing, and I just knew it was him, except Charlie is no Obi-Wan Kenobi. Charlie, what's going on, man?
Hey guys! Look, you mentioned my name. I got a call.
Well, Charlie, I mean, look, you have skirmishers at your border. They've sent irregulars over to like sabotage your power plants, cyber attacks. How are you going to respond to this, my friend?
I didn't even hear what he said, to tell you the truth. So
it's shocking you weren't listening. I can't believe it.
I'll have to listen to the archive. No, because I was trying to get on. It took me forever to get on.
I got you.
Hey,
good job screening this call out, Pearson. Well done.
Matt.
Yep.
Matt, I don't understand why you're on the show. You have hair. Everybody else is bald or almost bald.
Ooh.
I'm telling you, I don't know why they let you on, but you better wear a skull cap next time.
They were trying to bring down the age. They were trying to bring down the age age average.
So we got hair shots and old shots. First of all, be careful telling DeTino he doesn't have any hair left. I think he would take offense to that, first of all.
He doesn't have much. He doesn't have much.
I'm not making any comments on that, Charlie, but be very careful. I think Paul is pretty proud of what he has left. I'm obviously not going to throw stone in glass houses here. But remember, we unfortunately lost Lance this offseason. We needed to have some hair to replace him.
He was losing hair, too, on the side.
Oh, man, you are just... Jeez.
And Paul's got half a head. He's got half his head is bald, the other half is
You're just taking shots at everybody. These aren't even the people that said anything mean about you, and you're taking shots at them.
This is why you held for so long on the line?
And by the way, I will point out, Pearson has a fine head of hair on him. So I will just point that out, too.
I know he did. He's from New England. I knew he did.
What, there are no bald people in Boston? What are you talking about?
We really need to get a Pearson cam set up.
I think we do need a Pearson cam.
It's
I agree with that.
necessary.
Now, Charlie, here's the game, by the way. Go through some of like these giant videos. You can even look at maybe some of the Eli Manning show stuff. See if you can spot who you think Pearson is in the background based on what you know about his New England heritage. And I want you to call up next time. I want you to get back to us, okay?
All right, I'll do that. Hey, look, I got a couple of things.
Yes.
One thing is the Giants never win when they're celebrating anything. They didn't win when they were celebrating Strahan. They didn't win when they were celebrating Sims. In fact, we lost 35-0. We didn't win when we celebrated the 2007 team. We didn't win when we celebrated the 2011
Charlie,
team.
it's funny you bring this up. We had a similar conversation before while we were waiting for a press conference the other day, and Citak had a better memory than I did. He found the game that stuck in his head that we did celebrate something, and it actually turned out well. So... Give it to me. What do you got?
Yes, it was
What was that?
It was
Thanksgiving?
No. It was I want to make sure I get the year right. I believe it was 2014.
14, I think you said, right?
The Giants played, 2016, sorry. The Giants played the Bengals on a Monday night game, and they inducted several members to the Ring of Honor. Coach Coughlin, Justin Tuck, Ernie Accorsi. 2016, Monday night, Giants won the game.
21-20, right? If I remember the score you told me, I think. That I remember.
Yes.
I think it was 21-20.
21-20.
All right.
Andy Dalton.
One game out of 100.
Just saying, don't say never.
Oh, by the way, Charlie, how about this? Does this mean something? Oh, the quarterback, Ginger. So you have the ceremony, the Ginger factor. Maybe it's all turning around here, Charlie. Who knows?
Hey, look, and the last time we won an opening day game at home, 2011.
That is correct.
2011.
I'm aware. You don't have to tell me, Charlie. I know.
Yeah, you know what's going to happen? There's going to be boos at halftime.
Actually, I think it was
They're
2000.
Booing.
I think it was 2010. Actually, I don't think it was 2011.
Well,
But anyway,
it's either 11 or 10.
Yeah.
And they're going to be booing at halftime.
Oh, Charlie,
And
why do you say that?
Because Jones is going to stink it up. He's going to have at least 2 turnovers in the first half. They're going to be booing, throwing their Pepsis on the field, and their bubble dolls.
Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold turns the ball over far more than Daniel Jones does, my friend. You know that.
Not in this offense, because he's going to throw the ball quickly and get it out quick on short routes. He will not do that. I'm telling you, we're going to lose this game because we always lose when we celebrate, except for 1 out of 100. And the thing is like,
why do you sound happy about it, Charlie? That's what why do you sound excited about this proposition? That's what I want to know.
Because it's like Saturday Night Live. For God's sakes, Gomer Jones is a horrible quarterback. You can just because he's got a beard now, he's not going to change into Eli Manning.
Your calls, Charlie. Your calls sometimes are like Saturday Night Live, Charlie. Except it's not like the first skit, which is usually good. It's like you get to 12:45 and you're half asleep, and it's the last skit that made the show, and you get through, and they're like, "Boy, they really didn't think this one through too much, did it?"
It's cut for time.
Yeah, correct. No, it's when they just got in under the clock, and they're like, "All right, I guess we're not really a big fan of this skit, but we have 10 minutes to fill before the musical guest comes on for the second time, so I guess we'll slide it in." Okay.
Look, all I'm saying is we are going to lose against Minnesota the first game at home, 100-year anniversary, the whole 9 yards, and we're going to lose. And I don't think it's even going to be close. I think they're going to beat us by at least
You have to say something nice about the team before you hang up.
Okay. Something nice about the team. I'll say something nice about Neighbors, Hyatt. I like those 2 guys.
Citak's hair. He said something nice about that already.
That's true.
Offensive line, though, guys. You know, PFF, you know what they had us in the offensive line this year? 28th. You know what we were last year? 32nd. We moved up 3 big spots.
Troy, that's
So,
that's
first
of all, it's 4 spots for the Beth Majors out there. If you go from 32 to
Well,
28,
whatever.
that's 4. But
wow, that's going to
Troy,
make a difference, right, John?
That's a projection. And again, I'm not telling you the team that's going to have a top 12 offensive line, but if they finish as like the 22nd offensive line in the league, that's an offensive line that you can run your full offense behind, and that's all you're looking for.
And I'm also glad you brought up the PFF line ranking specifically because, as you know, I do check PFF often, and that ranking has bothered me for a while now because if you look back at the grades that they gave Jermaine Illuminor and Greg Van Roden last year, it does not line up with how they're projecting them this year, along with a healthy Andrew Thomas, because both of those 2 new additions got very good marks from PFF last year.
They were in the 70s, right?
So it makes no sense that having them 2 starters now with an all-pro left tackle, that is still the 28th ranked offensive line in the league.
Maybe they think Johnny Van Rotten is going to be the center. Maybe that's why.
Johnny Van Rotten. Charlie, thank you for the call. Oh, my gosh. I was annoyed, by the way. ESPN put up their projections. They projected the Giants to have the worst offense in the league this year.
I saw that too.
I don't understand that. How could you put them behind the Patriots?
Everyone is doubting the Giants this year.
I don't get that. I like to think I'm very realistic. That to me, it's really off the mark. I really think it's off the mark.
I agree, and I don't even think it's us being a little too close to the situation.
No,
like
I don't.
I genuinely don't see how the Giants have the worst offense in the NFL with the pieces that they now have.
And look, if I end up being wrong, you guys can call up and call me a moron. That's fine. But
Same here.
With Brian Dable and all the line better, the weapons. Devin Singletary's a good player. Like I don't get that. I don't get it. All right, Giants season tickets. You can still get them, folks. You're a couple days. You can still get in the door. Giants.com/tickets. Single game tickets, too. Probably not for Sunday, but they're there. And then Giants TV, all of our great video content. Check it out. It's for free on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon, Fire TV, Giants mobile app. Matthew Citak, good job, my friend.
Thank you.
Pearson Butler, excellent work. Citak and Dottino will have one more show tomorrow at 12:30. And then, again, Big Blue Kickoff Live on the weekend, 7 a.m. Marash and I on The Fan. Check that out as well. And then our radio pregame show starts at 11 a.m. on Sunday locally here in New York. If you're on our radio network, it starts at noon. For our crew, I'm John Schmeelk. We'll see you next time on Big Blue Kickoff Live.
The all-electric Chevy Equinox EV combines everything you need when you're ready to go EV. Starting at $34,995, the 2025 Equinox EV-LT gives you an impressive balance of all-electric range, safety features for peace of mind, and effortless technology, including the 17.7-inch diagonal display screen, all at a price you'll love. The Chevy Equinox EV is the fun-to-drive, all-electric SUV that gives you what you need to do exactly what you want. The manufacturer's suggested retail price excludes tax, title, license, dealer fees, and optional equipment. Dealer sets final price. To learn more, visit Chevy.com/Equinox EV.
There's no better place to watch live TV this fall than Hulu Plus Live TV. Why? Because you get your favorite sports like football, local channels, shows, and so much more. Plus, get Hulu's entire streaming library with Disney Plus and ESPN Plus included with your plan. No long-term contracts or hidden fees. Don't wait. Start your 3-day free trial of Hulu Plus Live TV today. Live TV plan required. Access content from each service separately. Offer valid for new and eligible returning subscribers only if available. Terms and restrictions apply. Learn more at Hulu.com.